In this video, I'm breaking down the exact strategy that I use with my clients so that you can see precisely what you would move through if we worked together. Now, what I'm about to share with you is not anything like what you've seen before, probably. It's not technique, it's not a course, it's a complete methodology for transforming how you lead, speak, and show up from the inside out. I specialize in transforming the whole woman. And the women that work with me understand that their personal transformation moves into their business transformation. So today, you're not just getting the what, you're getting the why. Because when you understand what actually creates the shift, you stop looking for the shortcuts, the surface level skills, and you start doing the real work. Now, I've spent over 2 decades working with women's voices, first as a professional leading lady in the West End and internationally, and then in my coaching career and building this methodology because I saw a gap in the space for women in business. And now I've worked with over 700 women. I've worked across 22 countries. And so what I'm about to share with you is the result of all of that work. It's been carefully crafted, distilled, sequenced, and it's proven. So let's start with the most important part of this entire process, you. Right now, most women with big missions sit here. They have high intelligence, high capability, they've built something real, and they've got proven impact. You know, you've built something, you're leading something, you know exactly what you're here to do. But your presence and the way that you show up in the spotlight, in the moments that matter, is not reflecting the level of what you've built. And that isn't a talent problem. Here's what the data shows. 75% of people worldwide experience anxiety around public speaking. Now, public speaking is being seen and heard. It's being visible. Now, women carry a disproportionate share of that burden, reporting public speaking anxiety at nearly double the rate of men. 44% of women feel significantly anxious speaking to a large crowd, and only 37% of men report the same, which means the ability to truly command visibility, to own a stage, a room, a camera, a pitch, is genuinely rare. And what is rare becomes your leading edge. But it goes deeper than nerves. Look at where women are actually showing up, or more precisely, where they're not. At the world's most influential summits and conferences, only 15% of keynote speakers are women. At tech events, that number rises slightly to just 36%, and 70% of women who've spoken on an expert panel report being the only woman in the room. Now, given this is changing, there are more events being held by powerful women and creating opportunities on the stage for more women. But still, these are the stats. Stats also show that women plan 77 to 86% of professional events, but they occupy only a third of the seats at them and a fraction of the stages. Now, these stats aren't because women lack the experience. Research shows that when women do show up fully, when they own their voice and their space, they outperform men by an average of 12%. So the capability is there. The visibility isn't. And the cost of that gap as a founder is not abstract. Now, women are interrupted 4.7 times more frequently during pitch presentations, and female founders spend on average 7.4 months fundraising compared to 5.2 months for male counterparts. And in the UK right now, so these stats are worldwide, but in the UK right now, only 7% of women negotiate their fees and rates compared to 57% of men. So again, not because women can't, but because something in the room, or more accurately, something in the body, shuts it down in the critical moment. The investor meeting, when you knew your numbers, but something contracted. The stage where your message landed smaller than it lived inside you. The sales conversation where you felt your authority slip just when it mattered most. This is not a knowledge gap, it's a presence gap. So what we're actually looking at isn't lack of expertise. It is a visibility and voice gap. The gap between who you are and how you're being perceived because of how you're showing up. The gap between the company you're building or the companies you're building, many of my clients have multiple businesses, and the authority that you are projecting as the leader. And now we're building personal brands. in the noisiest environment in human history. 5.24 billion people are on social media. The average person is exposed to between 6,000 and 10,000 brand messages every single day. 65% of founders have not positioned themselves as visible thought leaders in their space. And yet, research shows that those who have, those who lead with genuine authority and presence, earn 13 times more than experts without visibility. 13 times. That gap is no longer just costing you a deal, it's costing you your market position, your authority, your legacy, and it is widening every single day. Now, if you look at what most of the online world tells you to do about this gap, it's say this, use this script, copy this structure, show up more, show up consistently, do it like this. And here's the problem with that approach. It's killing your presence because it isn't felt, it isn't embodied, it isn't you. Most speaking and communication training is masculine in its design. It teaches women to override their nature and perform in spaces built by and for men. And the numbers bear this out. 82% of people believe that they could improve their public speaking skills, but only 11% seek training. And of those who do, the overwhelming majority report that the training addressed what to say but left untouched the thing that actually was holding them back. Because here's what communication and speaking courses and even leadership courses don't tell you. Only 7% of what lands in a room is your words. 38% is your tone of voice, and 55%, more than half of your entire impact, is what your body is doing before you said a single thing. So you can have the perfect pitch deck, the perfect content, the perfect background, the perfect setting when you're filming, the perfect investor narrative, the perfect keynote structure. But if your nervous system is in threat response, if some part of you still does not fully believe that you belong in that room, your audience will feel it. Your investors will feel it. Your clients will feel it before you've even said anything. And you're not a robot. You're a heart-led founder with a mission and a point of view that the world needs to hear. So here's the truth that I come back to again and again. You can have every skill in the world, but you will only ever be as confident, as magnetic, as commanding as what you have cleared within. So, what actually happens when you try to apply external skills without addressing the root? You feel anxious in the lead up to these important moments. You get stuck in your head mid-sentence. You stop enjoying the room. You disconnect from your audience. You manage impressions and perception instead of leading. You suppress your expression in the very moments that matter. When you are the expert, you don't fully articulate your value, your vision, your story. And afterwards, there's this feeling, and you probably know the one, that you did not show up as who you actually are. And that feeling doesn't just stay in that moment, it follows you into the next one and the next one, the next pitch, the next stage. That could change everything. So you start forcing, pushing, performing, and that's exhausting. And slowly building your public profile starts to just feel icky, sticky, uncomfortable, draining, rather than expansive. And that's what the typical course or coach walks you into. They start with skills, scripts, techniques, do this, do that, and they leave everything underneath untouched. So here's what we do differently. Most trainings in anything to do with voice, visibility, speaking, communication, personal branding, rocking the stage, most trainings hand you the skills and then they send you out with just those skills. We go much deeper than that. The leading voice method is built on 4 pillars, and all 4 have to work together. So together, these ensure that every element of how you show up, internally and externally, is working in the same direction. Now, the first pillar is psychology and energetics. So we work with your nervous system, your identity, your inner calibration, so that visibility stops feeling like a threat and it starts feeling more like home. You're probably sitting there thinking, how is that ever going to happen? But the thing is, you'll only ever be as powerful in public as you feel safe being seen. And research actually shows this. The right approach to visibility, being seen and heard in public, can reduce the anxiety by up to 68% by doing the internal work that removes the threat response at its root. Now, the second pillar is voice, speaking, and presence. So we refine your founder story, your message, your core talk, and your investor or sales pitch. We also audit how you actually sound and ensure that your vocal delivery reflects the level of what you've built. We develop the kind of presence that is felt so that in any room or on any stage, in any pitch, you land. And you get direct feedback on all of this. You practice in real time, and we even audit your content and any footage of keynotes or pitches because 70% of people form their impression of a speaker before that person has said a word. So this is where presence comes in. The energy you carry into a room, the way your body holds itself, the quality of your stillness, it's doing more work than the deck you've prepared or the script that you've rehearsed ever will. Now, the third pillar is visibility and embodied authority, because embodiment without direction stays invisible. We build you an aligned plan that opens the doors, stages, rooms, paid speaking opportunities, and right online presence so that your voice reaches the right people. We position you as the go-to in your field, the thought leader that your industry looks to. Now, 73% of decision makers say that thought leadership content is more trustworthy than any marketing material. More than 75% say that a single piece of thought leadership has led them to research a product or service that they weren't previously considering. Now, I see this a lot in my work. So your visibility isn't a vanity project. It is your most powerful business development tool. And right now, most of your competitors aren't using it, which means the window is open. Now, the fourth pillar is mission-led leadership and wealth, because this is where the real next level lives. Most founders at your level have done the work. They've built something real. They've developed skills and strategy and presence, but there is a ceiling, and that ceiling is not external. It is the gap between the level of success she's created and the internal capacity to hold it, expand it, and lead from it without forcing and without losing herself in the process. This pillar is about calibrating your wealth identity to match your ambition, expanding your nervous system capacity to hold bigger rooms, bigger deals, bigger responsibility. It's about anchoring everything, your voice, your visibility, your leadership, and anchoring that in the deeper purpose that drives you so that your authority is not just felt in a room, it is felt in an industry, in a movement. Wealth calibration, the capacity to receive at the level that you're building toward, to lead without guilt and shame, to charge without apology, to take up the full space your purpose requires, it is nervous system work. It's identity work. And without that, even the most successful founder hits a ceiling because she cannot think or strategy her way through it. So this is the pillar that makes the mastermind a completely different conversation from any speaking or visibility program, because we're not just making you a better communicator. We're building the complete woman, the founder whose leadership, wealth, purpose, and voice are all moving in the same direction together. When all four of these pillars work together, something major shifts. Your voice lands differently, your body relaxes in visibility, your authority becomes natural, your leadership becomes embodied. This is the real work. And this is the work that can boost your personal confidence by up to 90%, which doesn't just expand your business, it expands your personal life too. So the question in front of you isn't, can I learn to speak better? It's, am I willing to become the founder who can hold her next level? Because the data is clear. That gap is real, and the noise is deafening. The stages are waiting, the rooms are available, the investment is there for women who can stand in it. And the founders who win in the next decade of business will not be the ones with the best product or the most experience. They will be the ones whose presence commands a room before they speak, whose voice lands with the weight of everything they've built, whose full expression and authenticity is felt because they're not performing. So your edge isn't in saying the right thing. Your edge is in becoming the founder who can stand in her truth and hold the full gravitas of what she's built and where she's taking it. That is the work, that is the method, and that is the choice in front of you. So if this resonates, if you fight yourself in any of this, the next step is simple. Book a call below and let's talk about what your next level actually looks like.